Cumple María Camila.
Numeral si no se cumple es una de las primeras tendencias en Colombia. Si no se cumple, sigan participando en todas las redes sociales de la W Radio. Seguimos y retomamos con el invitado Ismael para hablar de esos cargos que podría estar enfrentando el expresidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, que sería de hecho el primer exmandatario de Estados Unidos en enfrentar o en verse arrestado, ¿no? Por favor, retomemos.
Eso es correcto, María Camila. Y la primera pregunta para el invitado Randall Eliason, el exfiscal de los Estados Unidos, es ¿cuáles serían esos potenciales cargos que se le estarían imputando?
Good morning, Mr. Eliason. The question would be, what are those charges for which the former president, Donald Trump, is being charged for?
Well, there's a number of different potential charges being investigated in different jurisdictions. The one that's being talked about this week most often is in New York State. So New York State prosecutors are reportedly close to deciding to charge former president. And that crime is a falsifying business records offense. At least that's the primary one that we're hearing about. Which would be, it's related to a payoff that was made to an adult film actress, Stormy Daniels, before the 2016 presidential election. Basic allegation is that the campaign paid her off to keep her from talking about an affair with President Trump before the election, and then falsely entered that in the Trump Organization business records as being legal expenses when it was really the payoff to keep her quiet. So that's a potential crime under New York state law. And that's the most current one. That seems possible that those charges could be coming as early as this week. But he's also being investigated in the state of Georgia for election fraud in that case, for alleged efforts to get Georgia to overturn its election results after the 2020 presidential election and declare that Trump had won, even though even though Biden had won the state. And he's also being investigated by federal prosecutors. There's a special counsel who was appointed to investigate possible federal crimes related to all the events of January 2021, the riot at the Capitol, the efforts to overturn the election, and then also possible charges related to the president taking classified documents away from the White House and then keeping them at his home and refusing to give them back to the government when they asked for them. So he's got a number of different investigations going on and could potentially be charged in several different places.
Mr. Larson, thank you so much. All will translate. Bueno, el exfiscal dice que hay un número de diferentes cargos potenciales de defensa y de registros públicos en los cuales está imponiéndole al expresidente Trump. Uno de esos, que es por el cual se está hablando en este momento, es directamente de la actriz de porno que es Stormy Daniels, con el cual pues hay un asunto con el expresidente Trump en el cual estaban implicados en una relación aparentemente. También se le imputan por gastos ilegales que en su presidencia hubo. Y bueno, al respecto de eso, también dice el exfiscal que también está siendo investigado en el estado de Georgia, tiene otras investigaciones también por parte de las autoridades de las fiscales federales, y asimismo también por los pasados disturbios del Capitolio, y el último también de Mar-a-Lago, de los documentos clasificados que él estaba manteniendo dentro de su casa, los cuales no le quería otorgar a las autoridades.
David, por favor, preguntémosle al exfiscal, entendiendo que esta información solamente ha sido confirmada por Donald Trump y no por autoridades judiciales ni por sus abogados, pues ¿qué tan posible es que arresten al expresidente Trump como él lo está afirmando? ¿Qué tan posible es que lo arresten precisamente mañana mismo?
Mr. Eliason, understanding that this information has only been given by Donald Trump, how likely is it that he is actually going to be arrested?
Well, it seems quite likely in the New York case. He was saying it would be tomorrow. There doesn't seem to be much basis for thinking it will be tomorrow. But there are signs that the New York prosecutors are very close to bringing in an indictment. And if that happens, he'll be arrested. That doesn't mean, he'll be locked up in handcuffs and hauled out of his home. I mean, he'll almost certainly be allowed to show up in court voluntarily and have the charges presented to him, and then the court proceedings will go on from there. So he'll be charged. It seems likely that he'll be charged, but there won't be the kind of arrest, where the agents swoop in and handcuff him and take him away. I mean, he'll be allowed to show up in court voluntarily.
So, dice, perdón, el exfiscal, que parece muy probable el arresto, sin embargo, no será mañana posiblemente. Hay señales de que lo van a llevar a una acusación, pero no va a ser puntualmente arrestado como se quiere con esposas, y que posiblemente no va a ir a prisión, seguramente seguirá en su casa, pero podrá acceder y ir a los procedimientos judiciales a continuación para que a partir de allí pues sigan la investigación. Asimismo será acusado, pero por ende, repito, no será arrestado ni esposado.
¿Teme nuestro invitado que este potencial arresto logre una nueva insurgencia similar a lo que vimos en la toma del Capitolio?
Do you think or do you fear that this potential arrest could represent something similar than what we saw January 6th in the Capitol?
Yeah, there is some fear about that. Certainly, Trump has been trying to kind of stir up anger in his followers with some of his social media posts, calling on them to protest and claiming that this is all unjustified and the government is out to get him. And so there are concerns that there could be protests and that he will try to create some protests and potentially, create some violent protests if he is arrested. It's unclear yet how big a concern that is. It doesn't seem like he's getting the kind of reaction that he used to get from some of his followers when he makes these social media posts, and so we don't know yet, how big a risk that is, but it is definitely something that people are thinking about and are potentially concerned about.
Fiscal, que claro que sí, que hay algo de miedo sobre eso, que no está claro aún cuán grande es esta preocupación. Sin embargo, pues cabe aclarar que las reacciones de los seguidores de Trump se han disminuido, por lo cual no es preciso decir que sí van a haber disturbios con respecto a esta acusación que le hacen, pero no sabemos en este momento si se va a hacer o no se van a hacer estos disturbios.
Nuestro invitado dice que él no cree que el presidente Donald Trump sea arrestado, pero lo dice por este caso en específico. Mi pregunta va por las otras, por los otros casos, por las otras investigaciones que tiene el expresidente Donald Trump. Él cree que en cualquier otra investigación, si surge ser acusado, el expresidente Trump podría pagar con la cárcel.
You mentioned that he might not be arrested tomorrow for this case in particular, but what about for other cases? Do you think he may be arrested for other cases?
Yes. There seems to be a good chance in both the Georgia case and the federal case that there will be criminal charges at some point, but they don't seem to be quite as imminent. The Georgia case and the federal case may be a bit longer before they're concluded. The one that appears that it might happen very soon is the New York State case, but yes, charges are definitely possible in the other cases as well.
Dice el exfiscal que sí, que posiblemente sea por el caso de Georgia o quizás también por los casos federales con los cuales se le investigan. Esa es la respuesta del exfiscal.
Estamos viendo algo, pues, como lo decía María Camila, inédito, algo histórico, la posibilidad de que por primera vez en la historia de los Estados Unidos un expresidente sea detenido. ¿Cómo podría una condena de este caso afectar la carrera política del expresidente Donald Trump en un futuro cercano?
We are living right now through something that has never happened before, where a former president is being indicted and could be arrested. How likely is it that Trump will actually face consequences for his crimes, and how is this affecting his political view in that matter?
Yeah, Yes, it's definitely unprecedented. It's never happened before that a U.S. president, a former U.S. president, has been criminally charged. But it is seeming increasingly likely that it will happen, and I think, although it is unprecedented, many of us feel that it's important for the rule of law in the U.S. that he be held accountable and that he not be treated differently. If he did in fact commit these crimes, it's appropriate to charge him and prosecute him, even though he was the former president. So it is going to be a new territory for the U.S. if that happens. But if it's appropriate, then I think that's the right thing. And I think if the question was, does he expect it to happen? I think yes. The answer is yes. I think he's preparing for the charges. How it will affect his campaign, I think that remains to be seen. Some people think it might make him even stronger because his supporters will just agree that he's being unfairly charged, and that will increase his support. But other people think that if he's actually criminally charged, it will hurt his campaign and he will become weaker. But I don't think we know yet. We'll just have to wait and see.
Randall Eliason, former federal prosecutor, thank you very much for being today on W Radio. Muchas gracias.
Okay, de nada.
Pues ahí estaban las palabras de Randall Eliason. David, ¿qué fue lo que dijo al final frente a esa última pregunta?
Sí, Ismael finalmente dijo que sí. Evidentemente esto es algo sin precedentes, que es apropiado, sin embargo, cargarlo por los delitos que ha cometido el expresidente Trump, que va a ser un nuevo territorio para las autoridades. Sí, esto es algo que sucede porque jamás se ha visto en la historia de los Estados Unidos donde se ponga preso a un expresidente, pero que es apropiado hacerlo. Él cree que es lo correcto, están preparándose los cargos y pues es posible también con respecto a cómo esto puede afectar su campaña, es posible que lo pueda afectar. Sin embargo, hay partidarios del expresidente que creen que él está siendo acusado incorrectamente, con lo cual pues podría potenciar de alguna forma su campaña, pero también de ser acusado correctamente, de ser pasado por los trámites legales y de ser acusado y ser encontrado como culpable, pues esto podría deteriorar esa imagen que tiene ante los estadounidenses.